heading off to Birmingham soon to meet up with Adam Wright, who today is talking about talking. As many of you will know, we shot a full-length documentary last year which detailed how Adam deals with the stammer. Today he's been to Channel 5 News, he's spoken in primary schools, he's about to do a talk at Birmingham University. And I thought I'd take all my camera equipment and go and speak to him and find out what this day has been like and what this whole year has been like since I last did a video with Adam about his stammer. How do you feel today?
Yeah, it's been a really good day. Did the school assembly this morning. That went really well. It was really nice to see the children's responses as well, and they all came up to me afterwards saying they really enjoyed it, so that was great. And obviously the Channel 5 thing's brilliant as well. As much stammering awareness as possible can reach as many people. It's only a good thing, and just to get the message out there really that stammering's all right and you don't have to worry about it, and there is help out there.
Do something about this. I need to do something about my speech.
Tweet just come through from Channel 5 playing the recording from earlier. This is quite surreal watching this at the moment, but looks really good, really pleased with it. Speech is a little bit ropey when I'm watching this back, but that's okay. I'm a person who stammers. Stammering is what I do, so that's absolutely fine. Just arrived Birmingham University, so there's a group of people talking, all different stammering backgrounds, different places in their journey with their speech, and it's just great that there's events like this happening, and there seems to be more and more. Hello everyone, good evening. So my name's Adam Wright. So the Hill of you do this thing where you can go and speak to them after a match, and for a few weeks I was aware of what was going on. I used to walk past them after a match and I used to think, I'd love to do something like that, but there was just something kind of holding me back. I didn't really want to do it. For the first few times it was going well, and I tried to speak as in control as I possibly could do. I was really trying to not stammer and to really be in control. And ever since then I've always worried, but I've never worried all. And I watched it back, and I remember watching it and thinking, that doesn't look great, was it? But actually it was the best thing that could have ever happened, because at the end of the day I am a person who stammers. Stammering is what I do, shared by loads and loads of different people. So it was out there, and it was great, because actually the week after, like I went back, I was like, well, that's it. This is who I am. So I'm not anymore. I'm not thinking, oh, what happens if I stammer? What happens if I block a little bit? Because it's out there.
So I filmed Adam's talk, which must have been a good half an hour or so. It really is sort of eye-opening to stand there and listen to it all. And from what I could tell, the audience and the people there really enjoyed it. There was one part though that I wasn't a massive fan of, where he showed the trailer for the documentary.
If you're interested in learning a little bit more about my story and my journey, then there is a documentary on YouTube, which I'm just going to play you a clip from now. What I do. I'm a person who...
It's always a bit weird to watch your work in front of other people, just in case no one likes it. That's always that awkward moment, but again, that seemed to go down pretty well.
I make no apologies. This is me. Finish.
But let's catch up with Adam. I spoke to him directly after his talk to see how he felt about it, and we also had a little chat about this whole documentary experience.
Really pleased with the response from the audience, so on the whole really pleased how it went. just to drive that message home that it's okay to stammer. It's not something to be ashamed of, and if you want to go and lead your life the way you want to and do the things that you want to do, just to reach out, look for some courses, some therapy that can help you. But ultimately, if you're doing what you want to do in life, then it's okay to stammer, and there's nothing wrong with it. The very nature of stammering means that communicating is very hard, and therefore, kind of as a consequence of that, stammering is not something that's spoken about much, so stammering gets left behind a little bit. And I kind of get that, because how can you speak up about something when you find it hard to speak in the first place? So it's really great that events like this are happening tonight. I'm aware of a lot more that's going on around the country today, over the weekend and the next coming days. Hopefully then, for people that don't stammer, that 99% of the population, hopefully it helps them to understand what living life with a stammer is.
So I should probably stop to give a little bit of context at this point before you see me and Adam jump into shot to talk to each other. We didn't really get a chance to explain it on location the other day. I sort of want to give a little bit of an explanation to this whole sort of video and what we're actually trying to do. I wanted this to be less like the BBC WM video that you might have seen on the Villa View a couple of months ago, where Adam went to WM, had a great time, spoke about his stammer, went home, we did like a little behind the scenes of his day. I didn't want to do the same thing here where he comes to Birmingham Uni, does a speech and goes home. I sort of just wanted to sit him down and get his thoughts on this whole documentary experience, what it's like to put a camera down in front of him, chat to him, stick a microphone on, and to be able to talk about this whole experience, going all the way back to the documentary that we shot last year. We were basically strangers, and I went round his house and said, "Tell me all about your stammer." That's basically how we did it. I've never really spoken about the inception of the documentary before, and this is what this next sort of 10-minute chat is together. There's your context. I'll get back on with the edit. This whole thing I've almost sort of put you through. What has that been like? Because miking people up, doing this, like, I'm sitting here and I already feel a little bit like this is weird. So if you've also got the hurdle of your speech as well. How is that to sit here and talk about things, personal things?
It's been a brilliant experience. I mean, it's just been over a year now since the documentary went out. And for me, being able to tell my story in such a way, and to so many people as well, has been amazing. And for me, I was already on that journey to become more comfortable with my speech, but the documentary for me, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to do that, because it took me to the next level. It took me to that, it's out there, what have I got to fear? I've got nothing left. When you expose yourself like that to your greatest fear, it's out there for the whole world to see. And being able just to tell people, like new people that come in to work with me, and I know I've got to have a conversation with them about my speech. You take the elephant out of the room. Just be able to say, look, just go and watch the documentary. It's just a great way of doing things. And again, taking those confidence levels as well, like doing stuff on the Villa View and not really worrying about it anymore. So the first few times of going on, I was thinking, right, we're going to do it, and I had to not force myself, but it would have been easy just to have gone, we'll just leave it for kind of this week. But just doing it, so you get to the point from having the opportunity to do all stuff like that, and with the documentary, you kind of reach a point at a great place in my recovery from stammering, where I don't care anymore. Don't care whether I stammer or if I don't stammer, and that's a great place to be. I never thought I'd get there. I wanted to work towards it, but if I'm truly honest, I don't think I ever thought I would get there. And for me, that was the next step in my recovery. That's what I needed to happen, and I couldn't work out how. I was going to get to that step, but by having these opportunities, it's been huge.
Yeah,
absolutely massive.
So let's talk about the documentary from last year a little bit. First of all, I can't believe it's been a year already that we're doing another International Stammering Awareness Day video. It seems like that only went up like a couple of months ago. In fact, it's been a year. It's crazy. Let's talk about the inception of that a little bit, because I don't think I've ever really talked about it publicly. I know you've done some YouTube stuff and Channel 5 radio. I mean, you're all over the place these days. So that sort of came about in, I wanted to do more freelance video stuff, and I wanted to make something of my own that, I mean, it sounds cliche, but something that meant something to people. Because most of the stuff I do is sport based, and if you don't follow that team, it's not going to appeal to you for a start. So that's already thrown a load of potential viewers and eyes out of the window. So I wanted to do something that felt a bit different and find a subject in the ISAD day and do something around that. Somebody sent one of your videos to me about coming on the Villa View, and you talking about, I mean, I'll put a clip in if I can find it.
I've wanted to do this for a while, but an opportunity came up to do it on Saturday. It was a bit nervy, if I'm going to be completely honest, but I did it. There was times during the end of the game when I thought, do you know what, let's just jump in the car, beat the traffic, and I was going to use that as an excuse to not go and do it.
So I was going into that totally ignorant and just thinking, oh yeah, well, this guy just came and spoke to us, and that's the end of it, like everybody else. And I saw this video and I was like, for me to have created the Villa View and given a platform to everybody, but have somebody be so affected by it and to have it change their mindset essentially, I was like, oh, I made that thing happen, and this guy, like, this the butterfly effect essentially, that because I made this, you made that, and now we're here. I thought, all right, this is an opportunity to make something. I'm going to send a message to this guy and say, do you want to do a documentary? Like, I want to do a long form piece of video where I'll come and interview you and we'll find out about your life and what it's like. Literally in the interview, when I was speaking to you, I think we were at your parents' house for like, 2 hours or something, just chatting away. And I was just hearing all these experiences that I was totally ignorant to, not being able to answer the phone. Just like stuff that you just sit there, and if someone just said it as like a passing comment, you think, what are you talking about? Like, it sounds so small to somebody, but it's a massive, massive moment. So then to almost like multiply that by going to stand in front of a crowd with a microphone in your face and a big light and a camera, like, that must have been like a really almost harrowing experience if you weren't quite up for it. But to come in and basically smash it, and people are going, this guy's great. Oh, who's the guy with the stammer? And then over time that developed into, Adam was great today. It wasn't the guy with the stammer anymore, and the reaction was wider than that. And I almost have to sort of take a step back sometimes and think, I mean, I'm not claiming credit for it, but if I didn't make that video, that wouldn't have happened.
Definitely.
So it's this weird sort of effect where I have to just almost take stock of what you've done over the last year and beyond.
Because of you.
Because what we've done, and that's a really weird thing to try and get your head around, because I don't think I've done anything, which is weird, because the documentary is a project for me as well to get a full length project under my belt. But to have it be so impactful, and to see comments as well, even now, like a year on, of people saying, oh, this documentary was great, it really helped me, I spoke to my parents about my stammer for the first time, stuff like that, it's absolutely mind-blowing. So for me to do that from a creative point of view and see how it affects people, for you to have a stammer and see the results, that must be 10 times.
For me, it's helped me so much, but like you said, in terms of helping other people and watch it, and like you said, those people messaging saying, I'm actually, for the first time ever, talking to my mum about my speech, or I've watched your documentary, I'm not leading the life that I want to live. I'm now going to go and do something about my speech. Like you said, that's mind-blowing.
And I talk about that from a creative point of view and a production point of view, as if like, oh, I made this film, so that's my thing. But it's not, it's yours. Because you were the one who said yes to it. You were the one who let me sit there for 2 hours and ask you about your school days where you'd have had bullying, your wedding speech, which must have been a horrible, well, not horrible, you know what I mean, a hard experience. We were pretty much strangers.
Yeah.
At that point, we'd spoken on Twitter a bit. You'd come to fan cams 4 or 5 times, and there we were, because you said yes, because you knew that this would help people, to opening up these life secrets, essentially. In your parents' house, your parents talking. I mean, that clip of your dad, when he's talking about, he shouted at you in the car. Every time I watch that, I'm a bit like, you know, sort of lump in the throat sort of thing. And I remember when I was filming it, I tell this to everyone who asked me about the documentary, like, when I was filming it, I almost sort of thought for a minute, I should probably stop recording here, because it felt like a really personal moment. And as I said, we're basically strangers, especially your parents. I only met them like 2 hours before. And I've just gone, oh yeah, come in, just talk about Adam and his wedding video. And I didn't know how far it was going to go. And I remember kneeling on the floor, filming it, looking up at your dad like this, and I was thinking, I should probably stop. But like the creative point of me, I was going, but this is good. Like this will make people think in the documentary that your dad, after all these years, and the experiences he's gone through with you as a family, still thinks about that one moment.
I always remember, and I regret it to this day, that we went to a football match somewhere and you were in the back of the car and you was with my mates. I don't know if you remember that. We were having a conversation and you started to talk and you really had problems. And I think I was driving, and I remember, and I regret it to this day, I shouted at you and told you off and said, will you stop that and talk properly? And now I think about it, I feel awful about it.
If I've learned a lot making these videos, surely people watching it will learn the same things. That's what I'm hoping anyway, that what I'm learning is being translated into the event. Like something as simple as like one of the first videos we did, that thing of, am I meant to cut out the parts where he stammers, or should I leave them in? Is that going to cause offence if I remove them, or do you leave them in and then have?
That's really interesting. I've never thought.
Because I've got 10,000 people watching this video that could take the mick out of this guy. So do I take it out to protect him and stop these potentially abusive comments, or do I leave it in because if I take it out, you'll be offended, and then you have to sort of weigh up what you think is probably more important. And those abusive comments never came. The guy with the stammer progressed to, Adam said this, and this is great. And people on Twitter are going, oh, that was my favourite fan cam ever, and the documentary was great, and I love hearing what you have to say. That's amazing. I'm glad to have been a part of that.
I still, you know, when I have those messages come through on Twitter, it's still so strange, it's so amazing.
Yeah.
And then when you're at the matches as well, and you walk by, Adam, and I'm like, I don't know who this guy is. And you have to remember, he's probably seen me on the fan cams, because you just forget. And then they come over and they want to speak to you about it, and that's just surreal. But I love it.
Yeah.
I love it because again, then gives me the opportunity in person to speak about it, and I mean, someone might ask me.
Yeah.
Because maybe before, stammering wasn't spoken about, but if you speak to people about it, then they're going to ask you about it. So that's given the opportunity to speak about it.
Yeah.
So that's so important.
So yeah, thank you very much for letting me into your life. I really appreciate it.
Mate, don't ever thank me. I've got so much to thank you
It's
for.
mutual, isn't it? Because without you saying yes to this whole thing, I would never be doing it. But yeah, like you say, it's obviously been great for your confidence to do this stuff as well. So
Definitely.
we've both benefited. Thank you very much.
Thank you.